Hey there, there's a massive opportunity right now for e-commerce brands that are trying to scale, but are tired of just ruining profitability every time they do. And it's my goal in this video just to show you the size of the opportunity based on some research that we've done in this area and have recently completed. We'll share why it's important and you can see if your brand can take advantage of this opportunity right now. All right, so I really want to share some of the secrets behind these iconic direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands like Hims and Movement, Stitch Fix, others. And really the key here, the secret, is that they reach buyers much earlier in the buying process. That's it. So while everybody else is battling it out at the bottom of the funnel, competing for the same 7 to 10% of the audience who's ready to buy right now, it's brands like the ones that I've mentioned who have already been building the relationship with this audience for months, even potentially years in advance. So let's just finally, once and for all, say enough to these bottom funnel battles where everybody's just wasting money or losing profitability and it's capping your growth. So let me show you a better way. What I want to focus on specifically in this video is how to leverage organic search. So getting traffic from your audience on Google. We just finished an analysis of almost 2.5 million e-commerce brands, and we looked across multiple aspects of their marketing mix. Specifically, we drilled down into how these brands are handling their blog or resource hubs for content to drive traffic from organic search. So I'm going to share some of those statistics with you now, although the full study, you can opt in here, we'll send it to you once it's ready. So nearly 1/3 of the brands that we studied did not even have an active blog. There's no area to host articles of any kind or content of any kind. But among those who did, the average word count for those posts, those blog posts, was 772 words. And for comparison, that's roughly half of the average among modern businesses that are using blogs. So the majority of the brands that actually had an active blog, they weren't even really scratching the surface of opportunity to reach buyers. And it was mostly things like press releases or just news related to the company or your typical brand content, holiday guides and things like that. So the reason why that content just doesn't help you as much is that you still have to pay for distribution to generate traffic. So if you want to get this in front of your audience, you got to share it on social media, maybe you have an email list, but those are only going to go so far. So you still have to depend on some sort of paid amplification of the content. On the other hand, if you write a well-researched informational blog, it's going to drive traffic from qualified buyers earlier in the buying process. So let's look at a quick example. Comparing two different search terms for an organic matcha brand, like a tea. So here's the first keyword, matcha. It has a large search volume, 200,000 searches per month, about $1.50 or so per click if you're going to bid on Google, and very high difficulty of ranking. But then there's this other query, this other search that people are typing in, and it's, what does matcha taste like? So this one has 16,000 searches per month. It's very easy to rank for this. With a well-written article, you don't need any other backlinks. You can just rank pretty much on its own merit. And it's gonna be bringing in buyers who are just earlier in their journey and they're curious about trying matcha. So they're asking, what does it taste like? I've never had it before. Maybe they've seen the health benefits of it and now they are just in a stage right before they're ready to buy and they wanna see what it tastes like. So the question is, why battle it out at the bottom of the funnel, especially in those first years when your brand is just getting off the ground, you're just getting traction, you don't maybe have as many resources as the larger brands in your space. So when you can reach these buyers at scale, just a step or two earlier in the buying process, this becomes a tremendous competitive advantage. So let's assume conservatively that you can capture about 30% of that traffic potential with a high first page ranking for your article. So you're gonna target that particular keyword phrase, what does matcha taste like? If you do that and you rank, you can expect roughly 4,800 clicks per month. So that's 4,800 opportunities to meet new customers. That's one article. The average cost per click right now on Facebook is, and we just checked this, it's $1.72 per click. But to get the same traffic from your campaigns on Facebook, you're going to have to spend $8,256 every month that you want the traffic. But when your single article ranks for this simple search, you repeat those 4,800 opportunities every month without incurring any additional cost. It's incredibly scalable. So that provides really an endless stream of free traffic, which compounds over time. So hopefully you're starting to see like how powerful this approach can be for your brand. And in fact, it's not surprising that our research, one of the data points it revealed is that one of the highest, strongest correlations that we found was revenue with the volume of content created on a blog and the average length of those blog posts or articles. And we're starting to see even early on as we're going through these takeaways that it's the brands with blogs that are actually targeting search traffic. They certainly have an advantage. And here's the best part. This isn't reserved for the elite high revenue brands out there. This works for brands of all sizes, and there's a way for you to compete. So you might be asking, is this possible for my brand? What I want to do is give you a way to see if there's opportunity here for your brand. Because when you look at those numbers, you think about the scalability of this type of traffic and how that can transform your sales. It's worth a shot. It's worth taking a look at. So if you're wondering if this is an opportunity for you, I would say this. The basic version of what you're looking for is an industry that has the following attributes. So the first we call search appetite. Basically, is there a large appetite for information in your industry, in your niche? So when your audience is asking Google questions, it really comes down to one or two primary triggers. The first is a future customer who is trying to identify their problem. They're trying to describe it, they're trying to solve for it, and that would be top of funnel, right? Or you have a future customer who's really just trying to evaluate the options for now solving the problem that they better understand. That would be your classic middle of the funnel. You really need to have a sense of, are there questions being asked in my space that I could then answer? A second dimension that you want to consider though is what we call answer friction, or AF for short. Basically, how difficult is it to produce the content that is going to satisfy the questions of the people that are in your audience searching for it? So if your industry is highly niche and it relies on a lot of subject matter expertise, I don't know, surgeon or something like that, represents a very high amount of friction and effort to produce this content at scale, right? Because presumably you can't do it all, or one subject matter expert can't do it all. So another example of this would be like a wealth advisor, somebody who's specializing in, I don't know, tax efficiencies for high net worth individuals and they own yachts and whatever. That has high answer friction. But if the work required to create the content is really more about curating resources from around the web, using Google as a research tool, then this represents like a lower answer friction. And it's going to make it easier for you to scale content production overall. So how to measure a baseball glove for the perfect fit. This is a perfect example of an article that with the proper research, you can outsource it, you can optimize it to rank. And this is clearly somebody who wants to understand how to measure their hand or their child's hand before they buy a baseball glove. So things like that, these earlier buying questions. And when we say earlier, it just means before. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's months and months out. It just means that this is one logical step before, or two logical steps before making the buying decision. So let me give you one more example. I always think it's helpful to learn through more examples, but Stitch Fix, one of the brands that I mentioned earlier, it's this personal styling company. They're driving like $2 billion plus per year in revenue. Here we see a lot of search appetite and content that can be produced with a relatively low AF. So it marks high in both of these dimensions. And they can land new customers at scale at the moment that they're actively researching fashion advice. So this post right here is targeting the term casual wedding attire for men. And that drives 2,000 to 3,000 visits per month, just absolutely free, month over month, they accumulate. And it's got a very targeted solution in their blog post. So it's a very helpful, timely article for somebody who's searching for this. and it ranks number 1. So prospective buyers are finding Stitch Fix every month, 2,000 to 3,000 of them. Stitch Fix is solving a problem for them and then pointing them to even better solution. It's a longer term solution. So listen, if you have determined that your brand could be a good fit for what I'm describing here, first of all, we should talk. So book a time, we can book a call here. We offer both traditional SEO services for brands plus this new content creation service where effectively we create 2 years of content in about 12 weeks or less. So it gives you a huge jump forward, huge leap in terms of traffic. And remember, like with even the impact of one optimized article, you can see massive leaps forward in terms of sales. If you're in for more of a DIY approach, that's cool too. Here's the broad strokes of what you're gonna need to do. So number 1, dive into keyword research. So there's dozens of tools out there. Some of our favorites are SEMrush or Ahrefs, but there's dozens of tools here for keyword research. You can also use free tools or free tiered tools to answer the public. You can get a quick gut check on how much opportunity there might be in your niche. So just enter, if you use a tool to answer the public, you're just gonna enter one of your main product category terms, and it's gonna reveal all the Google autocompletes, all the suggestions that show up based on what people have searched. So it's a great way to, what we say, ideate or just cast a wide net and get a sense of kind of the activity and the appetite. Second is to make a content production plan. So you've identified these primary keywords that you want to go after. There's a process there. You want to make sure that there's enough search volume, but that there's also enough relevance and there's not too much competition. So you're balancing a number of things there. You also really need to make sure that the search intent matches what you're intending to write about. So what I mean by that is go and plug in one of your keyword targets into Google and just see what Google has decided to rank. So you'll get a sense, hey, does Google see this as, say, like a product or a shopping search? Are there a lot of product pages showing up? Maybe that's not the best time to write an article, a how-to article. But if you see that there's definitely a lot of kind of information that shows up in the form of articles, blog posts, resource hubs, then you probably have a good fit on your hand. But you just want to understand the intent. If there's a lot of image packs showing up in Google Images or YouTube videos embedded in results, you might have a more visual topic that you're dealing with. So check the search intent, just Google what you're about to write about to make sure that you're going to give Google what they're looking for. And third, you need to write and publish this content with as much speed, as much of volume as possible. And so we can go into some of the research behind that, but basically there is a bit of an advantage here when you're able to publish large amounts of content. You're able to build what's called topical authority very quickly, and it's giving you a huge boost in the organic search race here. So I hope this was a helpful overview of the opportunity out here. I'm excited to share more of this data as we process it, create the visualizations. We want this to be clear and helpful. There's a lot of exciting opportunity out there for D2C e-commerce brands. If you're one of them, again, we'd love to speak with you and just share a little bit more about the options that we have here. Everything from strategic consulting to completely done for you. Just grab a time that works for you. We'll have a short Zoom call. We'll review the options with you there. So thank you so much for watching. Good luck and stay tuned for more as we release it.